Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Smart and Vinyl, where we're going to talk a little records, a little music, and a whole lot of meh. So, thanks for joining me, and as you can tell behind me, it's going to be a very special episode. I mean, not like I'm getting molested at the bike shop very special episode, but very special nonetheless. Only because this is a very near and dear subject to me, and I'm very passionate about it. And warning, most of my episodes are already off the cuff. This is going to be extremely off the cuff, just because there's so much to talk about. I'm going to try my best. But if you can tell, we're going to talk about Wally. Yes, Wally George. We're talking about Wally George today. And yes, I'm going to link it to records. This is called Smart and Vinyl, and I'm the bomb. Of course, I'm going to link it to records. Anyways, I love Wally George. I've watched Wally George my whole life. I still watch it on YouTube, and it's one of the best shows ever, really. And you need to watch it now with everything going on in the world. You'll watch it and be like, damn. Anyways, so let's talk a little Wally. So Wally George is actually a pretty important person in Southern California history. I would even say more important than Corla Pandit. I know. I think it's just because more people know who Wally George is versus Corla Pandit. Wally is best known for being a TV talk show host, and people credit him as like the father of combat TV, because his show Hot Seat with Wally George really was the first one to have like fights and people getting crazy and confrontation, leading the way for, Springer, stuff like that. His show was pretty popular. It started here in California, then was syndicated throughout the rest of the country. So we're going to talk a little Wally first, and then we'll get into the records. So Wally pretty much grew up in LA. He was a child actor first, he wasn't starring, I'm sorry. He was on Ozzie and Harriet, pretty reoccurringly, but not a star by any means. But then he started working in LA radio at age 14, and he had his own show on AM radio at age 14, which is pretty impressive. He wrote a record column for the LA Times in the late 50s, and he would review records and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't glamorous, but you got to start somewhere, like me, obviously. He became the producer and co-host of the Sam Yorty Show, which was on TV, and Sam Yorty was the mayor of Los Angeles back then, before Tom Bradley. After that, he got his own show on KCOP in 1979, and that was called The Wally George Show. After it was on KCOP for a while, it moved to KDOC, which is in Anaheim, and then in 1983, that show turned into The Hot Seat with Wally George. That continued to run from 83 to 1993 with original episodes, and then from 93 to 2003 Wally would do some commentary, and they would show clips of old shows, and that was just because his health was declining. The show was a lot of, not a lot, it was all like Wally being a conservative, and I think, and I've talked to other people, and we all kind of have the same consensus, Wally wasn't as conservative as he made himself out to look. A lot of the stuff on the show, I'm pretty sure, was staged. They picked the right kind of people to come on, and I think Wally just played it really well. And when you watch it now, you're like, oh my god, it's like so 80s and so dated, but that's what makes it so great. And I remember, I would talk to people even now, and they're like, oh, Wally George, what a jerk, what an asshole, such a conservative. Really, when you watch the show now, you're just like, oh, it's a total act. It was pretty funny. It still is. Like, we'll watch it, and it's like just the stuff they would say back then. You're like, oh my god, that would never fly today. But no, it's really, really good. Really good. Trust me. You've trusted me on everything before. Go on YouTube. There's a ton of Wally George. Just type in Hot Seat with Wally George and watch away. He would have some regulars that would come on. He'd call people, liberal loonies and nitwits and bimbos. He'd always have some kind of chicks in bikinis come on, or strippers, porn actors, protesters, lawyers, writers, musicians. Anyone would come on and be a guest. He would have, like I said, his regulars who would come on pretty normally, regularly. But he's had famous people who were either famous then or became famous. People like Timothy Leary, Morton Downey Jr., which, fun fact, but I guess not really so fun, he appeared on Wally's show and then kind of stole everything and started his own show, the Morton Downey Jr. show, which was pretty jacked up. Clear ripoff of Wally, But then Rick Dees was on, which that's one of my favorite episodes, is when Rick Dees hits Wally with the chair. That's great. The Mentors and with El Duce were on. Rhonda Shear was on. The Offspring. Jim and Debbie Goad were on. Who else? Guar. Striper. Richard Blade was on there. Who else? Oh, Mamie Van Doren was even on there. So just check it out. And here's another fun fact. I met one of my best friends because of Wally. Back in 2006, I was on YouTube and I was looking for Wally George clips and found some. I started talking to the person who posted them, and he's one of my best friends ever since, and that's Mr. Anthony Vitamia. So I do have to credit Wally to bringing me together with Anthony. And overall, like I said, I've watched Wally my whole life. I remember seeing it on TV as a kid. It was still on throughout high school. Hot Seat with Wally George is probably the best set. See, I'm just so excited I can't even talk. It was the best set. Should I just stop now? Anyways, Wally was like the best example of parody, satire, conservatism, and the perfect vignette of life in the 1980s. It's very 80s. Even the audience is very 80s with their hair, their clothes, the subjects they talk about. It was all commies, this and that. If you like the 80s and you want to see some good satire, you need to watch Hot Seat with Wally George. He did other things too. He was in Nightmare on Elm Street 5. He used to be on Thick of the Night, rest in peace, Alan Thicke, and a show called Rollerball, which is like roller derby. He was on People's Court one time. He got sued, and his daughter is Rebecca De Mornay. I know a lot of people bring that up too. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to do a commercial break right now and come back, and we'll go ahead and talk about the records. So I'll see you after the break.
Roses are my favorite. Yellow is for friendship. Do you want to be my friend? White is for hope. Do you have any wishes? Pink is for passion. That's my favorite color. Red is for romance. The best of all. Well, this is a phone. If you call 1-900-HOT-HOT, you can decide what color rose you want to give me.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Smart and Vinyl. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break. That was a sample of what the commercial breaks would be like during Hot Seat. And what was always funny is, Wally would be on the episode yelling at strippers and phone sex operators, but that would come on, so we know who was paying the bills for that show. Anyways, let's talk records. Now, Wally did a lot of other records and musical things before this, but we're going to concentrate on the two albums that came out during Hot Seat's hot time, in the 80s, which is two records. One is pretty common, the other one's not so common. So we'll start with the common one first, which is Wally. This is a 4-song EP, came out in 1984 from Rhino Records, and it's a little rushed. I feel it was rushed making it, and I think they wanted to capitalize on Hot Seat's popularity at the time. It's not great. I feel like it could have been a lot better. It's, I think it's probably the same people who sang on that football record I spoke about, the Rhino Record singers, and Wally just talks conservative over it. He raps on one of them. It's not really rap, but they call it rap. It's not great. I would watch Hot Seat first before even listening to this, because you're going to be listening and be like, what the fuck? Like, watch Hot Seat first, then listen to this. It is more common, but it's not like super common. So if you find it, I would definitely get it. Don't pay more than like $20 for it, really. It's not that rare. But I'm a little disappointed. Usually Rhino stuff's pretty decent. Even as a Wally fan, not impressed. But the second one's what I really wanted to talk about. Now, this one is Wally George Sings the Rock Hits. This one's pretty rare. I remember it's so rare. At the time I got this, I was dating a guy who worked at a record store, and when this came in, he snagged it and put it aside for me because he knew I'd want it. And sure enough, I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen that. I just thought At that time, there was just the Wally one. I've seen one other copy of this in all of my record collecting since then. One other copy. It was on the wall at a record store for $250. I didn't pay nearly as that, and mine is jacked up. So maybe that's why. But I mean, I did pay a pretty penny, but nothing like that for this. From my understanding, Taboo Records, who put this out, contacted Wally, and they wanted to release a record with him singing, with real music and a real band. Wally was fine with that. They recorded it. Wally did one show. He did do one show at the Palomino out in the valley with a real band, and he sang and everything like that, and that was it. Nothing else. So what I've found out was these were only sold during that one performance. So that's why I think these are rare. I'm sure there was more than just there, and I'm sure people did buy them and they were given away, but it wasn't as readily available as the other one. So this is definitely more rare. So if you see it, make sure you get it. Make sure you get it. Is it worth $250? Not to me, because I'm cheap, but maybe to you. Anyways, but Wally sings, and he has a real band on this one. All the songs are USA, Better in the USA, Back in the USA, ROCK in the USA, God Bless the USA, Surfing USA. He does some other songs on here. What's funny is on the right here, it says side USA. And I didn't notice that at first. And then I saw down here when I got it, it says side USB. So I'm like, wah, wah. But I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, whoa, how did Wally know about USBs in 1986? Then I saw it, and I was like, wah, wah. It's okay. Like I said, Wally can carry a tune. I guess with both albums, I'm just a little disappointed because Wally has, legitimate music background. So these could have been a lot better, but maybe by then he was like, I'm old, fuck it, I'm conservative, I don't care. It's not bad. What I do find interesting, well, first, there's the hot seat, wah, wah, and then on the back here, he does a dedication, right, to a lovely lady named Christy with an I, and it says, I would like to dedicate this album to the love of my life, Christy. Without her constant encouragement and inspiration, it would have never been. Thanks, sweetheart. I love you. Wally. Well, he didn't love her that much because he got married to Janice in 1988. So maybe Christy wasn't a date or a girlfriend, but he was married 6 times. So he was probably hitting that shit, hitting Christy with an I, So that's on there. It's okay. I find it interesting that this was mixed out in, it says here, Cucamonga, California. I find that interesting because the city was called Cucamonga for a million years, and then it became incorporated in 1977, and they changed the name to Rancho Cucamonga. Now, me and my roommate, we're nerds. We're nerds. So we still call it Cucamonga because when I get all my matchbooks and stuff, it says Cucamonga, and we're all old-timey and call it that. So it's just funny that 10 years later, they're still referring it to as Cucamonga on here, not Rancho Cucamonga. But other than that, there's nothing else exciting. So by all means, get it. Get it. So that's it. I know. I talked a lot this episode. I can go on for more. The best thing I can say is watch the hot seat. I know at first you're going to be like, dude, this guy's a dick. Once you start watching it, you're going to realize how pretty smart and brilliant Wally is and this show was. And even the guests that would come on were pretty good because they would just say the right things, and Wally's reaction was great. And really, if you love the 80s, you need to watch Hot Seat. Between the hair and the clothes and the subjects and the music, and it's just fun. It's just really fun. So that's it for this episode. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, leave them below. I'm gonna try, I'm so tired. Anyways, what I've been doing lately is, since I don't want to put the music in the video because I don't want to get in trouble by the copyright police, I've been putting links in the description of some of the music I talk about. Wally is on YouTube. Wally Sings the Hits is not on YouTube. So I'm going to try to make some little videos of the music on here, just very short so I don't get in trouble. And when I do, I'll post the links in the description for this video. So just keep checking back. Give me some time to do it. But that's it. So From me to you, from Wally's wig hairpiece to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Smart and Vinyl. Thanks. Hey everyone. Thanks for watching the latest episode of Smart and Vinyl. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything. You know what I find sexy? A man with a big, long, hard record collection. See you next time.
100. Hot, hot.